Interesting that we're bringing up receiver there when there's a report from Tom Pelissero this morning.
It's always over my shoulder.
I didn't totally want to get to it right now because I hadn't been able to listen to the audio on NFL Network, so I didn't know 100% what he was saying outside of, the Bills were really in on the two teams in the AFC East that were trading away big-name players. One of them, Quinnen Williams, does get traded. He goes to Dallas. It sounds like the Bills were in on them.
Mm-hmm.
And one player that did not get traded that they are playing today, Jaylen Waddle for the Dolphins. Look, personally, at the time, that day, I thought it was unrealistic to think the Bills would be really in on those players. I just did not see it. The Jets, I kind of got there because the Jets, it seemed like they just wanted first-round picks. They just wanted picks. It seemed like it didn't really matter. The Dolphins, I legitimately was sitting here going, would they really do that? And they're going to play the team in 4 or 5 days. Like, would Waddle even come to Buffalo? Well, it sounds like the Bills were really pursuing, and we're getting close to a deal. The problem was Bills offered their 2027 first-round pick as part of the trade package for Jaylen Waddle. Dolphins, though, wanted the pick to be this year's pick, 2026.
And I understand because they don't have a general manager in the seat right now why you would want it to be this year. You want that job to be more attractive to a general manager right away because it is a bit of a dumpster fire there. I do think, though, I am satisfied with the idea, though, of you do want to pay up. You do want to get these things done. But also, Zach, I mean, Jaylen Waddle would be the answer to this, but how do you get cheap labor, though, to help a team rebuild on the fly and fix some of the woes on the roster?
Right. No, I mean, it's draft picks, but
if I could get away with it by offering 27.
You're not going to get away with that, though.
That's why he tried it. That's probably the mindset is, if I can get away with it by offering firsts, but they don't be this year because I do need to rebuild a couple of things because our roster's a little banged up. I respect it. It's, hey, you know what? You did try.
I don't really respect it. I think it's gamesmanship. If you wanted a player for a first-round pick, who cares about the year? I mean, be for real. Like, that's him trying to get one over an interim GM and then didn't and wasted his time.
How do you not respect trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes?
Because you need a player. You were willing to give up a first for a wide receiver, but you got picky on the year. I think that's ridiculous.
I mean, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Let's try to mess with the Dolphins again. Kick the chair out from under them as they go to sit down. Bullying, don't bully people, actually. But then I also say bully the right people.
But to me, the report is just, I kind of didn't need that. I'm in a good place with the Bills. Don't get me wrong. I'm not flipping tables because they didn't trade for somebody. But I liked what Waddle would bring to them. He'd still be somewhat cheap because you don't have yet the big extension he did sign for them. Look, I know you need the draft, but to me that was acknowledging I'm ready to give up a big pick for a player that I think is going to do great here. I'm just not willing to give up this year's pick. Why? What's the difference? For Bean, what is the difference for you? Do you love this draft class so much compared to 27 that you're like, I can't do it? Why? You're going to be picking at the late first round. You're hoping that pick, if it's a receiver, is Jaylen Waddle. So just do it. And once you get one over the Dolphins, if all of a sudden you added Waddle and you immediately walk into their building and go, he's ours now. And now he's going to put up 140. I mean, like,
he's ours now.
I don't see this as a positive.
No,
good for you for trying, but a team is willing to sell off pieces they just wanted this year, not 27. Do it.
Well, also, that's the player that wasn't traded, though.
Right.
So it sounds like to me they didn't like any offer. The Jets, Quinnen Williams, it sounds like the Bills were also in on him.
Yeah.
And again, I think that goes back to why Bean was frustrated. He does mention in his presser earlier in the week that it's tough to trade within the division, confirming the report that Diana Rossini had immediately during the trade deadline of the Jets are closing the door on any AFC East team. And it's like, nope, that was a Bills tweet.
Right, because it sounded like
1,000%.
The moment the trade deadline passed, it sounded like the Bills were really in on Dolphins and Jets players. They were trying to get on what was supposed to be a fire sale. For one team it was, for one team it was not. I think about how fun today would be if you had Jaylen Waddle on the team, and it's like,
terrible,
and now you're going to play a Dolphins team that is dead in the water. two of their better players are gone because Phillips leaves a little bit before the deadline. Then Waddle would be gone. Now they're sitting there going, cool, it's Tua and Devon Achane. Let's see what happens.
Let's see. Our wide receivers are a bag of pixie dust.
And look, it's a small thing because it's really just where you're feeling with the team. But the fan base would be ravenous if all of a sudden you added arguably the Dolphins' second best receiver, to Tyreek Hill and his injuries he's picked up, but he's probably better.
Based on the injuries, now Waddle is the best receiver.
Right. And you add him. And now all of a sudden, too, like you just beat the Chiefs and you look great against Carolina. And now you've got this speed demon because most of us been asking for speed on the Bills forever. Who cares about the years of the picks? Now, if it was something of like, oh, no, we want 2026 first and second or 2027 first, and it sounds like a third, that's different. If the asking price was wildly different and it's not actually the year, that's one thing. But the report here is it sounds like Dolphins wanted 26, you were offering 27. And to me, if you're willing to offer a first-round pick, the year should not matter. It should not matter.
I think the Bills also wanted to make sure, no, we're willing to pay, but not overpay. And I think there's a fair balance to that too. And you're right. Like where they are picking in the first round, typically you hope that player is Jaylen Waddle, the caliber type of player. You want that type of impact. You're hoping for that. You're not always going to get that, though, later in the draft. And especially later in the first round, typically. But that said, if I have to move money around after this year, I want my next year problem to be paid with my next year pick. I want to be able to build with my cheaper first round pick when I have to move the money around. So there's cap gymnastics that are not put into consideration either there. Because that offseason, you're using this year's first round pick to give up for it, and then you have to also move money around. Where's my talent replenishment coming from?
Second round, third round.
Cool.
I know. They're drafting late first round anyways. I mean, we're hoping these guys are good.
But that's my point is you want to be able to fix both problems at the same time in the same offseason. That's typically how you want to make things work. And Bean does also make mention of he doesn't want to get too overzealous in the presser, right? He doesn't want to be too reckless. And he might have thought paying a first rounder to then fix all the cap problems that have been caused might have been too reckless. And I don't know if I agree or disagree with that, but I do like the fact that the Bills tried and they did not get what they wanted and ultimately walked away with everything still intact. It's better to have tried and failed than to have not tried at all. And that's where the report kind of makes me feel better is, hey, I don't care if you're in division. Let's talk. Mm-hmm. And that is the peak definition of trying. So, I mean, it is interesting to kind of gauge the temperature of fans in this way. And now it's time to get a check of a different temperature. T-Mark Temperature Check presented by T-Mark, your home team for comfort and control.
Spoiler,
and the official
it's hot.
residential HVAC company of the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres. Thanks for interrupting me there on the read. Zach, for doing that, give me the weather down there.
By 1 o'clock, it's going to be 85 and sunny. Joe, I know, has mentioned there might be thunderstorms a little bit later on in the day, closer to the end of the game if you're there, leaving. But before the game, into the game, it should be a beautiful day out there, 85 and sunny from, I think, 11 to about 3 o'clock. So, I mean, perfect football weather, especially if you're traveling to that game, which I know a ton of Bills fans have done. We've all seen the clips of the bars where like everyone is migrated to. It's going to be a beautiful game. This is the thing. I think for most Buffalo fans would agree. It's not even just the competitive aspect of I don't want these games in September in Miami. It's also I want to travel to that game in November when it's starting to get cruddy.
I don't want to melt in the stands in September when it's 102.
Oh, not
and
even
I'm sitting
that,
on the wrong side of the stadium.
Not even that. I was thinking it gets cruddy here and you take a little vacation where it's warm in November rather than, like September where you're like, it's warm in Buffalo. It's just hotter here.
It's just, now it's just hot and like not enjoyable. So,
that
that's
should
pretty
be a
much
beautiful game.